at E Soldiers. I am not in my usual space in front of my shelves because your girl is a homeowner! I am moving this week. I just came from a day of painting. As you can tell, I put some boxes next to you for ambiance. Otherwise, I'd just be in front of a blank gray wall, and that's kind of boring, so no. Are you feeling ambianced? I really want to know who thought it was a good idea for me to move during a heat wave. I want to talk. This is how you know you're an adult. You own an apartment and are a little bit tipsy off of half of a grower's cider. So cheers to home ownership and a very, very strange July reading wrap up. I say very strange because I was in a state of just pure feral chaos for most of July. Getting things ready for the move, packing, dealing with school. I still have a full research paper to edit for next week and another essay, final essay to write. Have I started that? No, I sure haven't, but my apartment walls have paint on them, so you know, you win some, you lose some. And at the beginning of the month, I was in a major reading slump and I really had to push through. And then at the end of the month, I don't know, something switch flipped in my brain. I hopped onto Kindle Unlimited and I was flying through romance novels like you would not believe. That being said, I did DNF a good handful of these, but I also read like at least more than half of them, so in my opinion that counts and there's enough there to talk about it. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and without further ado, let's do a July reading wrap up from my floor. So a major theme of July was Hades and Persephone because why not? Eventually I want to do a video about Hades and Persephone books. So I've been reading every single one that I can get my hands on that is marketed as a Hades and Persephone retelling. I started the month off with possibly one of the best ones, which really isn't saying much when compared to the other ones we're gonna get to. The first one we're gonna talk about is Receiver of Many by Rachel Alexander. I was very drawn to this title because in Greek mythology, if you don't want to speak about something, you give it an epithet. And one of Hades' epithets is, I think, the one who receives many guests, which is metal as hell. Not the best, not the worst, really cool depictions of Hades, the underworld. Hades, the guy, is a little dubious, especially near the end. He starts saying some weird stuff and I'm like, whoa, that's not okay. There is dubious consent at times, which I get is going to be a thread for all these other books because in the myth itself, the consent is dubious depending on what retelling that you read. I personally like the ones where Persephone has a little bit more autonomy, so it is a gray area, but it still gives me weird feelings. Another thing that wasn't cool was the fact that they kept referring to Persephone in diminutive epithets. Like a lot of the times all the gods would just call her child, which is like little creepy, especially considering that this also then goes into like heavy smut. And then the whole enemies to lovers was we shout at each other and now we're having sex, which you know that I don't like. Video in the cards. So this was abysmal, but also like fine. DNF. Next up is a Hades and Persephone retelling that I really enjoyed. This actually really surprised me because I never read this OG Greek gods series when, you know, Greek mythology got really big again in the early 2000s, and that is The Goddess Test by Amy Carter? Yes, got that right. Everyone take a drink. This book is sweet and wholesome as fuck, and she's legal! Woo! Small victories. This is a contemporary retelling where our main character, Kate, is our Persephone figure. Her mother is dying, and this mysterious and handsome boy named Henry says that he can save her if she goes and stays with him in this mansion and eventually goes through a series of goddess tests to prove her mettle. Henry is a gem, and I also love the fact that, you know, Greek god of the underworld wears black silk pajamas and like reads in bed. Like, my god, what a dreamboat. The plot with the mom is so sweet. Oh my god, I felt so many feelings in this black heart of mine. I really enjoyed how she brought in that plot line and like really did a good job of intertwining it with the like romance plot line. This isn't my favorite retelling I've ever read, but at the same time, like, I'm so happy that this turned out to be adorable. Should I just do all the Hades and Persephone retellings all at once? Because there's a lot, but I feel like, yeah, let's just do them all. This one, I DNF'd very quickly, unfortunately, which was Drag Me Up by R.M. Virtue. This one had the best plot concept where Hades is a part of three brothers who run this kind of like Las Vegas casino, and Persephone is a like Cirque du Soleil performer who catches the eye of Hades, you know, the dark one, the one of the underworld, which is like a club. Unfortunately, the writing was like kind of mediocre, and so that made the story sort of boring. But the thing that threw me for a loop is that this is written in first person present, which is It's very unsettling. It's like pushing an elevator floor that you've gone to for the last 20 years only to get there and realize the floor doesn't exist. It's like that. I DNF'd this very fast, so let's move on to the next one. Now, usually I don't like to have a whole video of just like shitting on books because, again, if I like something, maybe you don't like it, or if you don't like something, then maybe I like it. Like, who cares? Opinions make the world go round. But this next book is one of the only books that I have ever given a 1 star to, and that, unfortunately, is the Hades and Persephone retelling that is The Savage and the Swan by Ella Fields. This was, how you say, bad. Not only is this confusing names and places, this book really goes that step further and asks the question, what is world building and why bother with it? This did start off pretty strong though. I didn't DNF this until basically the end of the book, where our main character is a fae princess and she sneaks off in the middle of the night and ends up having like assassin lessons with this assassin-y type guy. He turns out to be like the blood king of the blood fae, and his name is like Battle Axe McStabberson or the Third or something like that. And he feels very possessive of her, but also his kingdom's like burning her kingdom to the ground. It felt like she was trying to mash a bunch of fairy tales together, and like none of them really matched up with like the next one that she was trying to do, and then none of them ever came back around to like matter in any kind of way. And then at the end it's like, oh, I love you even though you like killed my father literally in front of me. It was just very disjointed, and for the love of God, it is not your responsibility as a woman to tame a man. There's literally like no character development. It's just we hate each other and we're yelling and oh my God, but the sex though, we must be having it. You know, it's dumb. Okay, thank God that is the final Hades and Persephone book. Oof, it's been a rough month, you guys. Now, I only read a couple of physical books this month, and I have all 3 of them in front of me, so we're gonna talk about the one. This is gonna be my palette cleanser, because I need to talk about this book. Oh my God! Gear Breakers by Zoe Hanamikuta. It may not kill you, but you will feel like you have died. I'm not even real anymore. I've fully passed away from all the feelings that I had from this. I am now a ghost. I'm basically pale enough to be one. Sapphic, dystopian, Pacific Rim. Bitch. The tyrannical rule of the Kingdom of Gondolia is made so because of these massive mech bots, which are basically indestructible machines run by pilots. And then on the other hand, we have a rebellion of gear breakers who have been trained to be able to like climb into the mech bots and disassemble them from the inside. After a mission goes wrong, gear breaker Eris and wind-up pilot Sona team up, join the gear breaker rebellion, and concoct a plan to take down Gondolia from the inside out. Like, in this world of iron and wire, both Sona and Eris feel so viscerally real, like you can feel their rage. This book is dark as hell. It is a war book, it is about trauma, it is about PTSD, and talks about the toll that it'll have on your conscience to kill again and again. The found family dynamic is so good, but also if I was a part of this family, they would drive me insane. This has one of the best first chapters I have ever read in my life, and that is a hill I'm willing to die on. This is one of the best books of 2021. Like, the couple days after I finished this, it was truly like head empty, no thoughts, only gear breakers. And also thank you to Fierce Reads for sending me an early finished copy. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun with this. So nextly, to let you in on my process a little bit, is that for these reading wrap-ups, usually throughout the month as I go, as I'm reading something, I'll like make a little note and kind of jot down some stuff that happens or like feelings I'm having, just so when I film one of these videos I can, you know, remember my talking points. And for this book, I literally only have one. Tor was nice enough to send me a copy of The Past is Red by Catherine M. Valente, and the only note that I have for this is, what the fuck is this book? Y'all know I love me some Catherine M. Valente. Deathless, mwah, perfection, space opera, phenomenal. The reason I love her writing so much is because it's so lyrical and whimsical and fantastical. And this book is weird as shit. This post-apocalyptic sci-fi literary novel about the dangers of climate change follows our main character Tetley in a world where global warming has gotten so bad that now the entire world is just an ocean and there are these giant floating garbage towns that people now live on. It's very, very strange. It kind of goes into the Tetley, you know, herself having this big secret, making a mistake because she dared to hope that there is still a good world out there. When you think about it, this is kind of dark as hell. I don't know if I really liked this book, but it was definitely very unique. So if you want something weird or very literary, I guess this is the book for you. Though I have to say, if Be Trash Together isn't the millennial live, laugh, love, I don't know what is. Okay, we need to take a drink of water before we start this next one, because it is spicy. Book talk is split into so many interesting facets, and one of them that I subscribe to is spicy book talk. I've seen this book recommended a whole lot on there, and I finally decided to pick it up, and that is Priceless by Miranda Silver. I can describe this book in one word, and it is smut. And I can also say, happily, this book isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I love when erotica books just jump out and surprise you like that. This is about a college girl named Christina who parties a little too hard in her first few semesters of college, ends up broke, and because she needs money, she ends up accepting being a companion to this really hot guy named Patrick that she's been given the eye to for a couple semesters. He pays her to have kinky sex. That is what this book is. And as somebody who does not have this kink, I mean, it was still pretty good. The consent was all there. Not really my thing, but like, you know, could have been worse. And of course we fall in love because love cures all. Girl, this boy does not need a girlfriend. He is a therapist. Also a really strong and well-developed main character. Plot got a little shaky near the end, but like overall, like, if you're interested in reading this, I would just check the trigger warnings before you go into, and also not if you're under 18. I know that I look 17 at best, but I am in fact a full-blown adult at 26. Alright, next up is another smutty one that, again, Book Talk loves, and I don't know why, because Guilt by Raven Kennedy was, in my humble opinion, bad. Like, I didn't enjoy reading this, but at the same time, it was so addictive. It's like when you're a kid and you go out for Halloween, you get like a bag of candy and you eat all the ones that you like first, and then at the, you know, after like a month you're just left with like the gross candy that you don't really like or want at the bottom of the bag, but then you eat it anyway because you're just addicted to sugar and need some kind of serotonin boost. It's like that. This is a sexy adult take on the legend, myth, tale of King Midas. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, King Midas is a dick. Our main character is a girl who was touched by him and is now like a living golden statue, and she's the king's favored, which basically means she's like a concubine, but she doesn't actually sleep with him. And instead there's just he sleeps with a bunch of girls in front of her, and not even in a way I could get into. Like, it doesn't even look fun, honestly. This definitely had potential, but it felt like there were too many plot lines that she was trying to make happen. I think it would have been a lot stronger if she had just taken out something. It felt both stretched and rushed, and it also, to me at least, wasn't what was advertised. I was told this was a fairy book, and I didn't get that at all. And then there's this super, like, the ending is like, wow, trigger warnings left, right, and center. Like, I'm trying to play American Ninja Warrior, hopping around all these red flags that are popping up. Book talk, is this just a thing that you like because there's sex in it? Like, honey, you can do better. I forgot one of the Hades and Persephone retellings. Well, sort of, I don't know. It's pitched as that, but like in reality, it's like, this is a Wish.com Hades and Persephone retelling, you get me? I'd say this is more Beauty and the Beast than Hades and Persephone, but because it was pitched as Hades and Persephone, I will be considering it thusly. The Moonfire Bride by Sylvia Mercedes was alright, I guess. Where our main character Valera is a seamstress who accidentally gets herself in a marriage with a fae prince, where she has to go live at his palace for a year and a day, and she cannot see his face in that entire time because he's under a curse. A la East of the Sun and West of the Moon, which is one of my favorite fairy tales. Originally she doesn't want to be there, but then, you know, oh, we have talks at night, we learn more about each other, blah blah blah, we fall in love. I get that this is supposed to be a slow burn romance, but like, my god, people, let's get this show on the road, hurry it up.
Editing Rachel here. Don't mind this, I just came from a live chat. I just want to say I feel like I was a little bit mean in my review of this book because I think I went into it expecting a little bit more romance and darker themes than was actually in the book, which is great because if you want a Beauty and the Beast retelling that is not heavy on the steam or the spice or like the dark themes, then this book is great for you. I really like the sister dynamic. I really like the magic system. Very like fae friendly, which was cool. It just was not what I was going into it hoping for.
Truly, maybe this is just me as, you know, somebody who like reads a lot of fairy tales, but like, I don't get all of the reluctant brides, especially in this book. He says that he won't touch you unless you consent. He won't hurt you. He'll send your family money. He'll send you home once the curse is up, and you get to be a princess for a year and a day, and you can eat whatever the hell you want and do whatever you want to do, and you have full magical control over this castle. Like, bitch, I would be on that. I'd be like, well, shit, you know, this sucks. Gonna be here for a year and a day, so let's eat all the fairy food and mess around with magic. I got a year to fuck shit up and I'm gonna get no consequences from it. Let's go. These fantasy protagonists are not using these curses to their full potential, you know what I'm saying? And lastly is a book that I'm so happy that I can say that I loved. Thank you to my friend Liz, Liz Zarb on TikTok, for hyping this book up, because this Poison Heart by Tracy Bayron was full of plenty Greek goddess goodness. And I was sent this by Bloomsbury, so thank you, Phoebe. You know how to hook a girl up. Our main character Bree has the power to control and grow plants with a single touch, which I know this is supposed to be this like naturalist gothic, but all I can think of is the plant girl from Sky High. Please tell me someone else remembers that movie. And it turns out that Bree has been left an estate by an estranged aunt. So her and her two moms go into upstate New York to take care of this beautiful crumbling mansion that has a dark secret apothecary and poison garden that turns out that she has more family secrets than she bargained for. Finally, we have a smart character who's like, I'm gonna take my fully charged phone into this dangerous situation and call the police when things start getting weird. Like, it took us this long, and the relationship between Bree and Mom and Mo was so wonderful, and I love how much family and moms are just involved in this story, because, you know, YA, you know, you got a lot of dead parents, absent parents, irresponsible parents. Mo and Mom both play a giant factor in Bree's life and in Bree's story. I love how supportive and wonderful they are. It makes me so happy. Also, this house, like, I just bought an apartment, but where the hell was this house on the market when I was looking? This has such a strong cast of characters, is super atmospheric. One of my big pet peeves about YA magic systems is when an author will make an elemental magic, just because to me it always feels like it's a cheap Last Airbender ripoff. But here the elemental magic did, at least in my opinion, work. Like, the ending of this did wrap up a little fast, but at the same time, I swear that I could hear like an intense movie soundtrack playing for the last like 30 pages. It was like dun 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 dun. Like, wow, wow. Thank you, Liz, for not steering me wrong, and thank you to Phoebe for sending me this minor heart attack. And that is that on that. Those are all the books that I read in July. It was a wide array of things and themes and feelings. I mean, really, this entire month has just been a roller coaster of emotion. It's mainly been panic. This will be the first apartment living by myself in my home city, so I'm really excited to finally just have my own space, and hopefully I will not be the noisy, crazy neighbor who's yelling about books at 11:30 p.m. I mean, every apartment building's gotta have one, and I haven't come across one yet, which means that it's probably me. I will also likely do another video rebuilding my bookshelves. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me, I'm thinking about doing a Q&A while I unpack all that, so leave those down below, or DM me, whatever, on whatever app that I'm on that you are also on. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. You can check out my Instagram and my TikTok for updates on how things are going, and leave me any questions there as well. You know where to click the like video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!